Hi, friends. It's Caitlin with Goodish and Growing Chats. So, I have been on a little hiatus. I spent a week with my cousins in Jackson, Wyoming, and it was magnificent and incredible. And I will share about the experience probably eventually in one or many podcasts. Um, but it was really just a wonderful week away, and I really was unplugged during that week. And then since getting back, I've kind of been in consumption learning mode. So finishing and working on closing out a nutrition certification and just getting a little bit clearer with myself on what my day to day needs to look like in order to successfully run and launch a business. Um, and the podcast took a back seat. So I'm glad to be back and in my studio, closet studio. Major is not with me. He's in another room and standing in solidarity with his fur siblings because I have Junie and Zeke in. I have a large crate, and usually Major sleeps in there at night, but Junie and Zeke are in there now because Junie just needed to calm down. And whenever I do this, Major lays outside of the crate in solidarity with his siblings. It's very adorable. So just me. But all right, well, we are in a new series, and thank you for coming back or listening, joining for the first time. And quick little just recap on what the intention of this space and this podcast is really to be a place of reaching my hand out and connection and just sharing real life stuff. So we started with a pregnancy loss miscarriage series, and now we're in a second series and something that's been really top of mind for me and lots of unlearning and relearning that I'm doing personally is on this idea of breaking out of patterns of behavior and doing something different. So, starting Goodish and Growing has been a dream of mine, and I really kind of launched a wellness coaching business in intent to during the pandemic, and I had major failure to launch syndrome. So I put it out there that I was doing it and then literally just retreated back and went back to my previous employer full time and then continued to move through kind of that box life. And not to judge that, there's nothing wrong with that more traditional path. But I just have known this whole time that that is not for me. I have felt this really strong tension when I've been pursuing someone else's dream in these last probably 4.5 years, 5 years really. So this series is really grounded in keep going. Keep going. That's what we're going to focus on. I officially put it out there that Goodish and Growing was ready for clients. We still are, and I'm accepting clients actively. So please reach out if you're looking for a coach or support. But I officially put that out July 1, and it is now July 24th. And in these last 31, is that right? Did I put it out July 1 or did I put it out June 1? I guess it was June 1. Okay, so it was June 1. In these last 60 days, plus or minus, however many there are 54 maybe, I have had so many moments of, oh shit, what are you doing? I sold my vehicle in order to build my savings so that I could sustain not bringing in and generating income for X amount of months. I had that planned out. And that has given me some peace of mind and made this possible. we could do a whole series on being carless in a city that really isn't set up for people to be carless, vehicleless. But anyways, I did that so that I could do this and I could pursue goodish and growing. So in this last month and a half, I've had so many oh shit moments, and they come and go throughout the course of a day. They come and go throughout the course of a week. And what I'm here to say to anyone feeling like they can't, or they're questioning their path forward, whether that's professionally, in a relationship, just, in any realm of your life, really, is listen to your own abilities and desires first and continue forward in whatever way best suits your inner voice. So for me, that inner voice is saying, keep going, keep pursuing goodish and growing. And as scary as that is, as much fear that's just really bubbling up inside of me over this venture, this part of my path, I know I have to keep going. So I just want to be here today to say that to anyone that needs to hear it. Whew. And I'm going to give you just high level what I've been doing recently to kind of give myself some wind in my sails, if you will, to like push forward. Even if it's just like push forward for the next. So one thing, speaking of wind in my sails, is music. And I have very specific songs that I listen to in the morning that I'm like, all right, I need to hear this. I need to get this message, and I need to be motivated by this music. Music is really, I just love music a lot. So I leverage music a lot in my life. So if you have some pump up songs, I recommend playing them every single morning, every single day, in those moments where you're feeling a little bit of that self doubt or that fear kind of creeping up. Maybe that's your go to. All right, I'm going to play this song. Yeah, that's been helpful. It sounds silly, but it's simple and it's been helpful. The other thing that I've been really mindful of is, this may sound selfish, but I have put like some mega blinders on here, and I found myself rabbit holing in other people's success and what I'm telling myself is their like arrival. And sorry, I'm feeling a little distracted because I hear Zeke like crying. I think Major is teasing them. But anyway, sorry, I digress. So I was finding myself on Instagram, which is really my main social media platform, just looking at other people's pages and then going in to look at their websites or their whatever it was, just like telling myself all these stories about how much more successful they were. And that is like that, there is truth in that. They're at a different level of success. And I cannot let that continue to grow and be a story I'm telling myself and focus my energy there when I need to just put blinders up for a while, and maybe for like a long time, who knows, and just rely on my own ability to focus in on what I need to do, and right where I am in my very non-linear, I'm going to say it again, very non-linear life journey. So I put some blinders up. I literally got on social media today for the first time, I think in 2 weeks, because and that's another thing I need to work on, but just being reorienting my relationship there. So that's the second thing I would recommend, or at least that I'm trying. Maybe you try it too, is just noticing like, what are the things that I need to just kind of put a blinder on right now too, and not pay attention to, because it's draining my energy and it's forcing me into the comparison game, which is just one I cannot seem to get out of my life. The comparison game. And comparison is the thief of joy. End quote. I'm not sure who the author is of that quote. I will try to find it and put it in the notes. But that quote is so freaking real. Comparison is the thief of joy. You are in your journey right where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel like it's where you want to be. So right now in my journey, I want to be much further along. I want to have a wait list of clients, and I want to be generating X amount of income each month. And I want to be in a much more progressed and well-oiled space of my business. And I'm not there yet. And it is most likely going to take a very long time for me to get there. And reorienting and focusing inwards on myself and saying, Caitlin, this is the long game. This is not a sprint. So I've had to be pretty self coaching. It's like Brene says this is when the therapist is giving themselves therapy. I think she says something like those. But ultimately I've had to like coach myself here and say, you know what? This isn't working for you. What do you need to do differently? And one of them is not letting myself go down the comparison game, not allowing myself to rabbit hole in other people's success. And I also just want to acknowledge that I'm celebrating those people too. And like, I love that for them. And I envy that. I want that. So I'm working on it. And then lastly, the last little just piece I will leave you with for this first episode of Keep Going is